Darlings, it's Mummy, Sybil Bruncheon, and I'm coming to you from my little front porch on my driveway garden here just outside of Philadelphia. And I don't know if you can see, I think you can. I planted a couple of heucheras on the front porch, and there's a wonderful little coleus, and that's a creeping coleus, so that's going to be hanging over the pot with any luck at all. My heuchera, this is a wonderful heuchera right here. It loves shade, as does this one, and they're also called coral bells. This one has rather large blossoms. This is the normal heuchera. Can you see it? It's a little dark here in the shade. And then, of course, there's a New Guinean patience, which will fill in. So these are all shade plants. And here's a little lavender waiting to be planted. Not in the sun, but I don't keep it in the shade like this. I just brought it up here from the nursery. So anyway, I just wanted to see you. I wanted to show you my cute little. See how sweet. It's nice and it's cozy up here. Anyway, I wanted to show you a couple of things. I haven't done a tourette from my garden, and as you can see, newcomers and old-timers, it is indeed a driveway garden. I mean, that strip over there is what, 18 inches wide, and maybe 30 feet long, and this one is maybe 3 feet or 4. No, it's closer to 5 feet wide, maybe 6 feet, and I've planted it. Now, I have inherited lots of plants. I've inherited all of those lily of the valley, and I inherited the little hedge bush and that bush over there. And you have seen how I've trimmed these bushes, which had so much dead growth in them, so much dead foliage, that I finally decided to sort of bonsai and topiary them into wild, like Sleeping Beauty bushes or something. But this is what I inherited. As I said, the lily of the valley, which are lovely but invasive, and what looks like Siberian irises, which are lovely but invasive. I'll show you that right now. Here are some that are actually beginning to bud, and I've nurtured them into that. This group has not, but it's because it's so much in the shade and it needs to be divided and thinned. We inherited those peonies, which were never that healthy until Mummy moved here, according to the neighbors, and now they're like gigantic, and they've outgrown their cage, and I'm going to have to get some nursery wire and sort of keep them from flopping over. At any rate, here's my Japanese painted fern, which I planted last year and which is doing beautifully. It's one of my favorite plants of all time, of all the decades I've been gardening. This is one of my favorite plants. It just makes me feel so wonderful. And of course, that pot that they were in was here, but it was filled with trash, and halfway down, there was a paltry little growth of periwinkle. And I wondered what that was, but we had moved here in the fall. There was nothing I could do about it. So in the following spring, I took the periwinkle out and was going to plant it in the garden or replant it in the pot. Lo and behold, what was under the periwinkle was about 8 inches of trash. I mean, literal trash, styrofoam cups, yogurt containers, tinfoil yogurt tops, plastic spoons. It was like some former tenant had used it as a garbage can and then thought, well, you know what, I'll just fill it with some soil and put a periwinkle in it, which of course the periwinkle just sank lower and lower and lower in there and was forlorn. But I dug it out, I emptied that pot, put the Japanese painted ferns in it, and here's the periwinkle. And the periwinkle is planted here and is as happy and as joyous as can be. Absolutely happy here and spreading. And I planted it next to a honeysuckle. And here's my honeysuckle this year. And the honeysuckle is to cover up that pipe and the meter and everything. And so is the periwinkle. And look, buds everywhere on this honeysuckle. And it's covering its cage and everything. Here's my hydrangea. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Troy Garza. God. Oh my God. Hyacinths and hydrangea. Yes, thank you, Troy Garza. You saw earlier this season my hydrangea was sticks as usual. I trimmed off the dead ends and look at it. Lovely, lovely. Hyacinths were lovely. They did well. And here, yeah, look at this. This is what I really inherited. Irises. Irises, irises, irises. Um, they're way overdue to be divided. They need to be divided, but they are glorious. And well, there's one that broke over. One of the things, I wish I had an iris that was lying on the ground right now. I could show you, but I put some of these snow stakes in there, but they're just, I have to spray paint them dark green or something to disguise them. But one decision I'm making after they stop blooming and I let them rest for a while and grow from their foliage is to divide them and send them over to our public circle. I'm going to pirate it. I'm going to reverse pirate them. I'm going to smuggle them over there and plant them in there with Wanda's beautiful roses and everything. We're going to naturalize that tar pit that the homeowners association saddles us with the black creosote mulch that smells like an oil spill and feels like it on your hands and is so poisonous. We raked out most of it on this side, and look how the plants have come back from last year. I mean, they're just so happy. And then Wanda planted her roses. It's wonderful. Anyway, back to my irises. I'm going to thin them and I'm going to take them there. And here's some marigolds that I planted, which will grow up and be bigger, and et cetera, et cetera. And here's some more irises. And this is what you should really see. Those are the pale yellow ones that I got from my neighbor Mira last year. She sent these over to me to put into this bare spot, and they are as happy as can be. And here's more purple irises, but this is what I wanted to show you. See these yellow ones? Now, I love Mira's pale yellows, but these yellows right here are the most vibrant, intensely rainbow yellow I have ever seen in any flower. And I'm including roses, I'm including daffodils, I'm including tulips. My yellow tulips on my desk, yes, lovely, but not like this. These are shocking, and they're taking their own sweet time. It's like, wow, they've been budding for days, and they haven't opened yet. Whereas the purples and Mira's pale yellows, they budded and then they pop open. They don't hang around, nor do they hang around on the plant. They bloom, and then the blossoms last 2 or 3 days, maybe, and then they fade. Now I have a little helpful hint for you in a second. So this is part 1, and I will give you part 2 of this tourette in just a second, called Cut Flowers. Okay, so but here, this is this grouping, and then you can see over here I've got my usual stuff going on. Tucked under here are my bluebells, my Jacob's ladders, which are finally going by. My forget-me-nots are finally fading. These Jacob ladders are one of my favorite flowers of all time. I want to buy 2 more and tuck them under there where they're very happy. Look at my columbines. Can you see the pink ones? Those are the simple ones, and there's the double blossoms. Gorgeous. Coreopsis, Bidens. Funny that they're named Bidens. A dish full of irises that are going to go to the center circle. Here's more Coreopsis, a different variety blooming. Marigolds to go in. Oh, my pin cushions. I love pin cushions, and I have them out on Fire Island. So anyway, I wanted to show you my garden. Look at those peonies. They're like out of Day of the Triffids. They're just gigantic. It's a shame they're so invasive. There's some delphiniums tucked in there. I'm going to have to figure out something. Maybe I'll have to thin my peonies as well. Anyway, I wanted you to see my garden. I wanted you to see how beautiful this late spring, drifting towards summer is, and to see how a garden grows. It was pretty bleak 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. The longest winter, the most reluctant spring I've ever experienced. It was just the most reluctant spring. Nothing was up. Go to my YouTube channel and you'll see what a desert all of this was. It was creepy. And those nights where we had 40-degree and 30-degree weather after things had started to not only peek out of the ground, but bud. I had some flowers budding, and then there was 38 degrees. And it was 4 days of that. It's just whatever. Anyway, I'm grateful to Mother Nature that she provided so much and provides always surprises and lovely things. Aren't our geraniums beautiful? Those little geraniums. I can't wait till they get in the ground. Anyway, remember to be in the world and of the world, to be present, to be mindful and grateful. And always remember that everything you see and smell and touch and hear and taste and hold in your hand and in your heart, all of it, even a day taking friends around your garden on a silly little tourette, even that is borrowed. Everything is only borrowed. Talk to you later, darlings.